Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. With me, your host, Owen, guys, coming at you again with your daily Rangers update. Remember, guys, this channel brings you your team every single day, brings you all the latest news on Rangers FC, brings you transfer news, brings you game news, brings you stories from the club, brings you podcasts, brings you live streams, game live streams, brings you so much content, all for the grand price of nothing. We charge you zero for this. We're not charging you £2. We're not like the Patreon sites. We're not going to charge you for the extra daily news. We're going to give you daily news for free. Guys, all you've got to do is hit that sub, but ring that notification bell. And if you can give this video a like, I would greatly appreciate it. Obviously, remember as well, we have our podcast. We had our podcast last night, myself and Victoria, talking over the Hearts game, talking over the 5 players, obviously, that left. If you haven't checked that out, please go back and check that out. Well, this morning we've got, again, an awful lot to get through here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, so strap yourselves in and get ready for that latest news. Well, we're going to talk Chris Boyd, his views on Glenn Kamara. We're going to talk a little bit about a pre-season friendly that's been announced against one of the German teams. We're also going to talk a little bit about striker links. You know, obviously that has been one thing on the minds of several Rangers fans, has been the situation with strikers and the fact that concerns over strikers not been linked. And that is a position we badly need to strengthen, obviously, with Alfredo Morelos leaving this summer. And obviously a possibility that Antonio Colak might also be on the move. But the whole possibility that realistically, you know, this club is very short on strikers. We saw that when Colak and Morelos were both out. You know, we didn't have anyone to play with other than Fashion Sakala. And you guys know my views on Sakala. You know, the guy couldn't trap a big bag of cement. Sakala's one of those players that when he acts instinctively is not too bad at all. But when he has to think, he really does go to pieces and pretty much fall over his own feet. So let's start off by looking at those striker links. Now, Michael Beale mentioned in his press conference a while ago about the fact that when he went to buy players and when he went to sign players, you would see the links quite clearly between himself and those players. Well, this is one of the latest players to be linked with a move to Rangers. And this is a player called Ike Ugbo. Ike Ugbo is a Canadian international. And you might ask, well, how is a Canadian international linked with Michael Beale? And that's a good question. Well, Michael Beale remembers Ike Ugbo from working with Ike Ugbo during his Chelsea days. And obviously, Michael Beale was a youth coach at Chelsea and worked quite closely with him. Ugbo has been plying his trade for Troyes in Ligue 1 in France and has been very successful for that. Let's find out a little bit some basic facts about Ike Ugbo. So his full name is Ike Dominique Ugbo. He was born on the 21st of September 1998. He's 24 years old. He was born in Lewisham in England, but is still a Canadian international player. He is 6'1", so a good size. He currently plays for Troyes. For his youth career, we went through a team called Brampton East Woodbridge Strikers before going to play for Chelsea. And that's where Michael Beale came across Ugbo. Ugbo didn't make any appearances for Chelsea, as often happens with a lot of Chelsea's youth products. Chelsea are very famous for, you know, signing these youth players and then not actually using them at all and sending them off on loan around Europe. So that is Ike Ugbo there. He then went on loan to Barnsley, where he made 16 appearances, scoring 1 goal. From there, he went to Milton Keynes Dons, 15 appearances, 2 goals. Then to Scunthorpe, 15 appearances, 1 goal. Before heading to Holland to play on loan for Roda JC Kakad, where he scored 13 goals in 28 games. Then a loan spell in Belgium with Cercle Bruges, where he scored 16 goals in 32 games. Then to Genk, where he scored 3 goals in 18 games. Then he went on loan to Troyes, where he scored 5 in 14 before signing permanently for Troyes, where he scored 2 in 23. He is a Canadian international and represented Canada at the Qatar World Cup. Like I said, he is someone who has that clear link with Michael Beale from his Chelsea days. So again, this is someone that has been very heavily linked with Rangers. Apparently, there is competition for his signature from newly promoted Burnley. The England-born Canadian international has had several loan spells, as I've just mentioned, but joined the French side on a permanent deal this last summer. He's on a 4-year contract with the Ligue 1 side Troyes, and it's understood that Troyes value him at around £3.5 million. Now, Michael Beale is obviously, anxious to add to his attacking options now following the exits of obviously the likes of Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent. And whilst obviously the Honduran winger Luis Palma continues to be rumoured as a possible target for Rangers, Ugbo is certainly somebody apparently that Beale is taking an interest in. Obviously, like I said, he is 6'1". He has played for Canada. He has played at the World Cup, and he could well be part of that rebuild. So that's the first striker that has been linked with Rangers. That guy again, his name Ike Ugbo. So watch out for him. Possible signing for Rangers. Now, there's another player who has been linked with Rangers, and that is a Croatian international. That is this guy here. Now, who is he? Well, his name is Mateo Frigan. That is his name. He is a Croatian player. Now, obviously, Rangers have got already got Croatian player Borna Barisic at the club. Now, what do we know about Mateo Frigan? Well, Mateo Frigan, and I'm sure I'm massacring this guy's name, is only 20 years old. Again, a young player who would fit very much in with that player trading model. That player trading model, just to remind you, is very much about bringing in those players, developing them, and then possibly selling them on for large fees. Again, he's a decent height at 6'1", born in Rijeka in Croatia. He currently plays for Rijeka. He had his youth career was with Rijeka. He joined them in 2020. Now with Rijeka in 2020, he scored 13 goals in 23 games. He then went on loan to Orient, I think that's how you say it, 4 goals in 13 appearances, and this season has spent it at Hrvatski Draguljovic. And again, I am massacring that name. 3 goals in 15 games. He's represented Croatia under 19 and under 18 level, scoring 5 goals in 12 games for Croatia's under 19 team. So he's clearly a very talented striker. Now, apparently, Rangers have inquired about Rijeka striker Mateo Frigan, as they obviously are looking to add more firepower to that front line. Now, apparently, this 20-year-old Croatian striker is on the Rangers shortlist, along with a number of other names to be brought in to bolster the forward options. Rangers are, I think it can be said, desperate for centre forwards, with obviously Morelos gone. I said Cholak possibly moving on. Michael Beale speaking very publicly about the need for major reinforcement, and also several times has talked about a lack of clinicalness in that final third. Frigan would be apparently one of multiple forward signings would he be signed for Rangers. Apparently Rangers' plans is to bring in more than one striker this summer, which is good news. I think they need 2, even possibly 3 strikers minimum if they're going to obviously mount a serious challenge to that lot from across the city. Now, apparently, Croatian giants Dinamo Zagreb have already put a £3 million bid in for Frigan, and talks are continuing over this summer sweep. So Rangers would have to rival that £3 million bid from Dinamo Zagreb. Now, certainly, obviously, Rangers can offer European football, potential to win trophies, obviously experience in playing in a foreign country. Now, Frigan is not out of contract until 2025. And has apparently made starts for HNK Rijeka during the 2023 season, and has been drawing interest from across Europe. He is now a Croatian under-21 international, and has now made apparently 26 league appearances for Rijeka this season, and has scored 14 goals and 3 assists. So 17 goal contributions this season alone in 26 league games. Apparently also MLS club New York City FC have made an inquiry as well. So Rangers obviously have some serious competition for this player. But there does seem to be a very strong rumour that Frigan is another name that has been very heavily linked with Rangers. This is something we do need to address at the clubs. Rangers do badly need some strikers, and obviously the fact that Frigan has been linked, Ugbo has been linked, that's the list of Madja, Pirot, Kristovic. There was a Greek striker the other day linked, whose name escapes me at this moment in time, but there isn't a real need, I think, to bring in, I think, a minimum of 3 very talented number 9s, and certainly these guys would be in that in that sort of size, that number 9, they're 6'1", they're good physical players, they score goals. They're certainly the sort of players that Rangers do need if they're going to mount a serious title challenge to Celtic next season. So look out for those names, guys. In the press, on the media, and obviously here on Glasgow Rangers Nation, look out for the names of Ike Ugbo and Mateo Frigan, Croatian striker. Now, former Rangers player Chris Boyd has been having his say again about the rebuild needed for Rangers. Chris Boyd, obviously, who is a huge, Rangers supporter, and obviously loves it when Rangers are successful, especially when he can rub it in the faces of the Celtics supporting pundits that work with him. Now, Chris Boyd has been talking a little bit about Glenn Kamara. Now, Glenn Kamara, rather surprisingly, started on Wednesday night against Hearts. Many people weren't expecting Kamara to play any sort of role at all. Kamara has very much been out of favour since the Viaplay League Cup final. But he came into the side, started, and for me, looked absolutely lost in that game. He did not play well. He passed it back too many times. Sideways was the most forward-thinking he was, and he did look exceptionally poor in the game on Wednesday night. Now, if this was an attempt by Michael Beale to place Glenn Kamara in the shot window, I think it may have gone a little bit wrong. I don't think teams are going to want to pay an awful lot of money for him. The one thing I will say is Kamara did only cost Rangers £50,000. So I suppose if we did take 1 million, 2 million, which would be a lot less than what Nice were willing to pay for him last summer, it would obviously be a profit nonetheless. And any money brought into the kitty is useful if it is reinvested into player development. It certainly seems that since that move fell through last summer, that Kamara has checked out and has not really put in the same commitment to Rangers as he has in previous seasons. Certainly, if you go back to his performance in that semi-final at Ibrox against RB Leipzig, where he was exceptional, obviously scoring the goal and looking phenomenal all over the field. Kamara has really sort of let himself down over the last few games. Now, speaking to the media, speaking on television the other night, Boyd said that as far as he was concerned, those 5, as in terms of Helander, Kent, Morelos, McGregor and Arfield would not be the only 5 on their way out this summer. Boyd name dropped Glenn Kamara as one of those possibly on his way out. Now, I think Boyd is pretty much spot on with what he's saying here. Given the way that Glenn Kamara has played, and given the fact that since obviously that Viaplay League Cup final where he was particularly poor, he's not really featured. And the odd bit of a substitute appearance here and there. Yes, it was a surprise that he started, but like I said, was that an attempt by Michael Beale to put him in the shop window? If so, like I said, it's probably failed. But I can see Glenn Kamara moving on this summer. He certainly does not seem to be in favour at the club any longer. And I think any money we can get for Kamara would be welcomed. You add that obviously into the wages that are freed up by these 5 players leaving, and it will give Rangers some capital to help invest in the team and build this team for the future, which has to be the intention this summer. I think we saw on Wednesday a Rangers team that really looked devoid of ideas at times and did lack a little bit of confidence with some of those players coming back into the team. This team does need a rebuild. It does need a retool, and it does need, several positions addressing. And, if we can put Kamara out, we can let Kamara go, brings in extra money. That money can usually be reinvested into the club for new players. Well, guys, let me know what you think of Glenn Kamara and his possible transfer in the comments below this video. And anything you want to comment on, any questions you want to ask, feel free at any time. One thing that Victoria and I have always said is this is a fan-driven channel. A channel responds to you as fans. And if you've got questions to ask, content you'd like us to cover, then please drop us a comment, drop us a line, drop us an email, drop us whatever you can, and we will always do our very best to get back to you. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can get us at GRN1872. If you want to follow us on Instagram, Glasgow Rangers Nation. We have a Facebook group, Glasgow Rangers Nation Official. We're even now on TikTok, Glasgow Rangers Nation. That channel is absolutely booming. You can email us at glasgowrangersnation@gmail.com, and you can even buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. Okay, let's move on with the latest news and talk about the next story. Now, obviously, we know that there will be a testimonial for Alan McGregor this summer, where Rangers will be taking on Newcastle United at Ibrox. It's been announced today that Rangers will be playing a pre-season game against SV Hamburg of Germany. There are ties, obviously, between the two clubs. Ticketing details have already been released. Now, apparently this game will take place on the 22nd of July, which is a Saturday, and will be a 3 p.m. kickoff at Ibrox. The tickets for this game are substantially cheaper than the tickets for the Alan McGregor testimonial. Now, the McGregor testimonial are £25 for adults. However, for this game, Rangers will be charging £15 for adults, £10 for concessions, £5 for children, and £1 for junior My Jers membership. Sales windows are as follows for season ticket holders between the 12th and the 21st of June. For friendly CCCS from the 14th of June, for My Jers the 26th of June, and then they will go on general sale on the 3rd of July. So a good chance to see your Rangers heroes play in pre-season, to see how development is going, to see some of the new signings maybe as well, who hopefully will be brought in this summer. So that another game announced, SV Hamburg at home at Ibrox, which I know that will be a keenly contested game and certainly a game worth watching. Now, obviously, we have one game left this season, and I think, like a lot of Rangers fans, I can kind of say that I'm kind of ready for the end of the season. I'm ready to pack up, to finish the season, and to move on. And obviously, like I said on the podcast last night, this channel is not going anywhere. We will not be shutting down for the summer. We will not be taking the summer off. Victoria has got some fabulous ideas for some guests and for some podcasts coming up, and I will continue with obviously your daily news updates and any breaking news as comes. Hopefully, it'll be a busy summer with lots of signings, so lots of breaking news videos, players departing that we don't need anymore. Again, breaking news videos. We can bring you all that latest news. Now, if you want that latest news, if you need that latest news and you need your daily Rangers fix, even during the summer, if you hit the sub, if you ring the notification bell, that will really help out and really get you that daily update. And again, it costs you absolutely nothing. One game left, obviously on Saturday, we build up towards that. 12:30 kickoff against St Mirren. Away from home, obviously, it remains to be seen if any of the players who are saying goodbye to the club may feature at all. I think Arfield could well be on the bench and feature at some point. Could Alfie play his last game for the club? Who knows what Michael Beale is intending. Certainly, I do hope that we will see a fairly strong Rangers team with a number of, obviously, if our stars still playing, likes of Todd Cantwell, Nico Raskin, and obviously those guys continue to play, not be rested at this point. There really is no point. I think, we've got to obviously build in towards next season to continue that positive movement, that positive roll forward. Obviously was checked a little bit with that 2-2 draw at home to Hearts, but going into that game against St Mirren on Saturday, which we will be previewing here on the channel, we need to keep that positive movement heading forward, looking forward to next season. Well, okay, guys, that's your latest news from Glasgow Rangers Nation. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give us a like. And remember, if you hit the sub, ring the notification bell, you won't miss out on any of the great content. Guys, as always, a pleasure speaking to you all here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. And if you want that content, hit that sub. And I'll be back to speak to you again very soon here on Glasgow Rangers Nation. And remember, always, we are the people.